It was the last part of the 90s. The world was evolving rapidly. The internet boom has begun. A 40-year-old man became the world's richest individual.
Bill Gates has more money than Peru.
And an innovation organization that was supposed to be quite possibly the most creative was near the precarious edge of bankruptcy. Macintosh versus Windows is one of the most seasoned tech competitions of the unsurpassed, dating way back to the 1980s. Thus, it is no big surprise that Apple and Microsoft were very wild contenders as they battled about the quickly developing consumer PC industry. Unexpectedly though, without Bill Gates, Apple probably wouldn't even exist today. Along these lines, here is the account of how and why Bill Gates saved Apple from sheer bankruptcy. At first, we should know how Apple even got to the condition of being bankrupt. Apple was started on April 1st, 1976 by three co-founders, Ronald Wayne, Steve Wozniak, and Steve Jobs. Ronald left 12 days after the establishing of the company, and Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs left in 1985. Steve Jobs left because he feuded with John Sculley.
My pleasure to introduce my friend and the CEO of Apple, John Sculley.
While Wozniak left, according to him, Macintosh was preventing him from becoming what he wished to become. Wozniak was dead right on his remark. Perhaps the most inventive company have now lost their direction. Apple was still a PC company at its center, yet presently was trying product all over the place. In 1993, Apple attempted to make a Macintosh TV. It had the option to function as both a PC and a TV, yet it had an issue. It would cost more than what a TV and a PC would cost combined. People didn't like it, but at least it was still a PC. However, at that point, they chose to take a stab at another item, a console. The console was named Pippin and would run on Macintosh hardware. It was most likely a bombed item, having lifetime sales of 42,000 units. In contrast, the first PlayStation had lifetime sales of 102 million units. It is always good for companies to try products in new niches, as it ensures its long-term success. However, Apple was doing it at cost of its core business, consumer PC. What's more, they began to have management issues. After Steve Jobs had been kicked out, the new CEO was
My pleasure to introduce my friend and the CEO of Apple, John Sculley.
He was not a technology guy, he was a marketing guy. Marketing can assist you with growing sugar water business. However, he was certifiably not a right fit for the organization that produced its fan base on innovation. Indeed, even his replacement could not bring back the old Apple. Apple was losing and losing it quickly. It was losing an excess of more than $100 million each quarter. At the point when Steve Jobs came back,
Steve Jobs.
Apple had burned an excess of $800 million and was only 19 days away from bankruptcy. In 1996, Apple had attempted to raise a fund of $661 million. However, they could not make investors amped up for it. Thus, the lone way they could endure was a miracle. And it occurred. This miracle came from one of the most unanticipated individuals, the founder and biggest shareholder of their competitors, Microsoft. Bill Gates chose to purchase $150 million worth of non-voting shares of Apple. Since the shares were non-voting, it was anything but a plot to acquire them, adequately allowing Apple an opportunity of revival. With this cash close by, Steve chose to cut down the production line of Apple by 70%, focusing on what Apple is known for: simplicity. They introduced a new product, iMac G3, which was moderately successful. They launched the Think Different campaign, a campaign that led to the foundation of how is Apple viewed today. Moved their production line to China to limit cost. These all endeavors purchased Apple a few years. In 2001,
It's a music.
Apple presented iPod,
It's
which
a
guaranteed
1,000
Apple's financial
songs
well-being for a long time to come.
I'd like to introduce you to the iPod.
In 2003, Microsoft decided to sell their Apple shares. Had they keep it till now, they would as of now be holding more than 1 billion shares of Apple, esteemed at more than $125 billion, making them and Berkshire Hathaway top two shareholding companies of Apple. In any case, there is yet an inquiry left to be unanswered. Why might an organization assist with reviving its rival? Many said that Apple was suing on legal disputes on issues in regards to the duplicating of Mac OS for Windows. At the point when Microsoft invested in Apple, they dropped the case. Yet, seeing the distinction between the conditions of both these around then, it is very difficult to accept it. All things considered, Apple was near the precarious edge of bankruptcy, and Microsoft was ruling. But the most popular theory is far and not quite the same. Microsoft ruled the consumer PC industry, eliminating each contender introduced and winning each fight they were occupied with. By 1997, they owned the consumer PC market. It is a very great according to business perspective, yet it likewise carries different players into the game. Around then, Microsoft was giving a valiant effort to manage the market and making it harder for new players. This resulted in antitrust law against them. Considering this, saving their greatest rival would assist with facilitating the claim or even be dropped. On top of it, Steve Jobs let Microsoft's Internet Explorer become the default internet browser on Mac PCs. It seems like the right choice. Bill Gates and Microsoft have demonstrated their business acumen and resilience during the 80s and 90s. And by investing in Apple, they're also able to defend their company from antitrust law. Maybe It is what we call karma is. In Microsoft's initial days, it was able to crack a deal that saved it just because IBM was suffering from antitrust. And now it has played a role in saving a company because it was going through an antitrust hearing.